Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
You're here with Jill and Rami. Wonderful to be here with you today. So, the topic we're going to cover, topics today, we consider really crucial for both the twin flame journey, but also for really everybody on earth, certainly advanced souls who are most of the crew that find us, and for anyone who's yearning for sacred union, that deep, deep yearning. And we're going to talk about yearning today and how to handle that, right? What to do with it, because there's a lot out there about you shouldn't be yearning for your twin, let that go, or you should be yearning for this or shouldn't. There's a lot of confusing information out there. So we're going to be talking about divine yearning versus lower yearning, doing some clearing for that and helping you have some tools to handle yearning better, because it's built into us. It's built in. We can't get rid of it. So how do we work with it really well? We're also going to be talking about lower love versus higher love, little love versus big love. And this one is something that is going to really ring your bell too, we suspect. When we dove into this topic for ourselves a little while ago, it really blew our minds. So we really want to share this with you as well. And then we're going to be giving you a context too in terms of vibrational scale and why this all matters. And of course, because it's us, we'll be doing clearing and healing throughout. So stay with us, because we'll talk for a little while, do some clearing, and then give you some offerings of what we have for you to go deeper with all of this. So Rami's going to start just doing a brief clearing, and then we'll dive in.
Okay. So, put your left hand on your heart chakra. The palm of your hand should go right on that heart chakra. If you're driving or doing something else, obviously put that aside for now, just for a couple of minutes. Breathe in and out through there. Let yourself go calmer. Just by connecting with the heart chakra, changes everything. Changes our level of consciousness, changes who we are. Breathe in and out through your heart chakra. Let's ask for greater peace to come into your body. If you're good with that, you can think of that as coming from the divine, from a high being, like Kuan Yin, for example, or Christ. If that doesn't fit, just sunshine. Calming to your belly. Calming to your whole body. As part of our work in terms of both of us are trained, we have a traditional background, master's degrees and etc., and trained as a couple and family therapist and blah blah, and I have this yearning in terms of looking for research in terms of what works best and so on, and often we have to go beyond that, obviously. So think in terms of there's research that shows that as we go into our heart chakra, it entrains our mind. So my intention goes down to my heart chakra. We go into calmness, and then my heart energy is very much more powerful than my brain energetically. So you bring calmness to the brain. And now to your body. Bring greater peace. Okay. So what you want to have is you don't want to zone out. You want to be at peace in your heart and present. So you hear what we have to say. And at other times when you're doing other things, obviously, so you can be really present with your kids or with your work or your whatever. Do that for another, 15 seconds. I'm going to talk with you a little bit now about this scale that's been developed. Many of you are going to know about it, many of you probably won't. It's called the Scale of Consciousness. You can choose to check it online. It's really useful to check that out. Developed by David Hawkins. So really, you can think in terms of 3 different levels. So there's 2 of them are ego connected, and one of them is higher consciousness, connected with our soul or higher self, or whatever term you want to use. So the lower chunk is on the scale of consciousness is 20 to 200. And so that relates to lower emotions like shame and guilt and hatred and fear and that kind of stuff. Whereas on going 200 to 500, we're connecting now with more calmness within us. We're less caught up into things. We're less into emotional intensity, and we're more connected with our mind, and we're able to accomplish things more. So it's higher level ego, if you will. You know, people have different terms in terms of ego, and we don't need to get caught up into that. So think in terms of a lot of what drives our bus when we really want something, or when we're really afraid of something. The lower emotional body really kicks in. So some people, like Eckhart Tolle, talks about the pain body, for example. This is where it is in the lower emotions. Whereas when we go into calmness, it's a higher level of consciousness, and then we're more at peace, and we're more able to be present with other people, and so on. And then we go up to the next level, and that's 500 and up. And that's being really connected with our heart much of the time. And then you go up from there, and you go into unconditional love, and then you go into great peace, and then various levels of enlightenment. So for our purposes, it's really important to think in terms of the lower levels. So 200 on down. This is where we tend to do stupid things, right? We're taken over by our stupid side, right? So we may want to run away from something we yearn for because it's too scary and I'm not worth it, or that guy's dangerous, or whatever it might be. Or we really yearn and we grasp, and in the very act of grasping, we can push away what we want, right? They think in terms of people who've tried to grab you and really want things from you before. If it's mutual, the passion and so on and so forth, that works. But that tends to be only temporary, because after that, the unresolved stuff comes up to be transformed, right? That's the normal part of the gig. So whether I'm yearning for a job, or I want to have a shiny new Cadillac, or I want to have a particular relationship, or whatever it is, when we have this yearning, then what happens is the underlayers of the yearning. If I don't get what I'm yearning for, then I get upset, right? So I might get angry, I might get scared, I might be upset with the universe, or upset obviously with the other guy over there, whether it's my boss or my child or beloved. And so we get all caught up in this stuff. As opposed to that, if we go to a place of more our rational side, then we're more calm in terms of the emotional body. So then we can be affected in terms of going into stupid thinking, of course. So there's all that kind of stuff. We can be impacted by negative beliefs in a variety of ways. So think now in terms of going into higher love. Jill's going to be talking about that in a couple of seconds. Go back with your left hand on your heart chakra. Bring your right hand to your belly. That's where our inner child is. Some of you who are familiar with us, you've done this with us before. Imagine sunshine, universe, Kuan Yin, Christ, whatever feels right for you. go into your heart chakra. Just bringing peace and nurturing to my lower parts, my inner child that's freaking out. There's other parts, not just inner child. It's more complex than that. Just bring nurturing and calming. When we go into this calmer place, we're not grasping as much. We're not pushing away as much. We're more at peace. You can think of various spiritual practices over the centuries, the millennia that have been created in relation to this. We're no longer caught up in our lower body as easily, as much. Calmness. We connect with higher, if you think in terms of energy levels, like the scale of consciousness, it starts with shame and goes up from there, fear and etc. And so gradually what we're doing is we're not getting so caught up in the lower emotions. Mm-hmm. And then we get more and more connected with the higher ones. Part of what happens though is that if I yearn for unconditional love, for example, I want to become that. Whatever is unresolved in me, and in you, of course, comes up to the surface to be healed. So then we can end up feeling like a failure, so then we beat ourselves up, where obviously it's the other guy. I was totally in unconditional love, and you idiot, look what you did, right? You totally blew it for me. I was doing so good, right? So all of that. And you can all relate to this. We've all been there. So we judge ourselves, we can judge the universe, life is too scary, I don't want to be here anyway, blah, 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 blah. So part of what we do, Jill and I, is we help people to connect with higher level energies of various types, to help people connect and transform, and then we help to heal and transform the lower energies, including our inner child and various other energies that we're connected to.
Okay, so we're going to talk about love. Love. We could really say that Earth is a planet where we're meant to learn about love, what love is and what love isn't. Love is just a theme that resonates with pretty much every human being in some way. We all crave it, yearn for it. And Ramey's going to be talking about yearning in just a little while, but I'm going to talk about the love aspect. So Ramey, when we were preparing for the series that we're doing right now, it's called Clearing the Pain Body for Higher Love. If you're watching this video later, it might be complete and on demand, but anyway, that'll be down in the description. So some of what we talk about today, we cover in there in more depth. But when we were preparing for this, and Ramey was looking into all this David consciousness stuff, and we were talking, and he said, honey, you will never believe what I just found. And I said, what? He goes, guess what romantic love calibrates at on the scale? I was like, I don't know. 145, according to David Hawkins. So think of the first tipping point is 200. Romantic love is below the tipping point. So it just blew my mind because I thought about all of our years of living on this earth. We're trained to want and crave romantic love, and that's the ideal. That's what's glamorized in Hollywood and all the novels and everything. Romantic love is, and then ... they lived happily ever after. So as twins or other advanced souls, it's really easy to move into, that's the goal. Romantic love is the goal, right? Obviously. Well, then we're going for down here. That's down with anger and shame and all of these other lower emotions. And it just really was a light bulb for both of us that that's where a lot of twins and other advanced soul people are stuck. And in fact, we think that's the goal. So I want to put a disclaimer in here because what we see a lot of in terms of teaching is people saying the desire for that is bad, or you should not think about romantic love or even yearn for your beloved. So that's why we're going to talk about the difference. We're not talking about not wanting to be with someone and love them. we're not talking about not wanting to be in a very close and connected relationship. However, the romantic love level is what most of us are going for. And we want to show you that there's something higher that you can aim for and achieve. So a lot of twins think it's either or. Either I get the romantic love in the partner, or I have to be solo. No, there's higher love that you guys can achieve. We talked about that in our last video, I think a little bit, but we're going to be going deeper with it. So think this is for all your relationships, not just your twin or your beloved. So there's a couple reasons you want to aim higher than 145. A lot of reasons, actually. One is it's taking you down normally, and then you're connected in with all this lower stuff, and you're just moving in there, and you don't even know why you feel terrible every day. Well, because you're down at 145. That's not that fun of a layer to hang out in. It also, the other one feels it. When we're down below 200, guess who's feeling it? Our beloved. And if you're not in a relationship, even with your twin way over there, they're going to feel it because you're connected. Even if they're not conscious of it, they'll react to it. And your boss will feel it. Your kids will feel it, whoever. People feel your energy. So it repels people, or it causes, just stuff to go wackadoo around you. It disrupts the field. And it locks you into suffering. So our perspective is that if you're a twin or advanced soul, there's another way, which is we're here to bring this higher template of love. Okay, so we're going to talk about how do I tell the difference, right, between lower love and higher love. So David Hawkins created this wonderful scale.
Excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
Everybody put on your seatbelts. What Jill's going to say now is a little hard to digest.
Yeah, and this is no shame at all, because who told us this in kindergarten? Well, everybody, kids, you shouldn't aim for romantic love because that's actually 145 on the scale. Can you imagine, right? We didn't get that. We were raised on fairy tales, Disney princesses. For the men, I don't know what it was, like superheroes, but it's not, what we're taught to yearn for is so low, and it's just amazing to us. So anyway, we knew this before, but this really makes it tangible and numerical, right? It's like, oh man, it really puts it in your face. Okay, so lower love is about the self and ego. Higher love is self and spirit. So just feel that difference right there. So when you think of self and spirit, you're automatically aiming up. Self and ego, you're going down. The intention of lower love is to mate and get. We're all familiar with that, right? The intention of higher love is to bond and enjoy. Wow, so bonding is there. It's not about not being bonded, because that's where Ramey's going to talk about that in yearning. It's not about throwing out that natural desire to bond and connect. That's who we are as humans, but we want to do it from a higher level. The emotions associated with the lower level love are excess and imbalance. We all are familiar with that. Higher love is calm and balance. It's calm up here. What a relief. Like, oh my God, we spent so many years on that roller coaster of excess and higher love is like this more. Not that we don't have dips and all of that, but it's totally different energy. And we'll talk about what this looks like in real life in a minute. Emotional also, frantic, fearful, and tormented. Oh my God. Doesn't that describe the daily life of many of you probably and us for years, right? Because we didn't know better. On the other side, it's self-fulfilling. Again, not disconnected, but self-fulfilling, totally different. I'll just say one or two more. Lower level, suicide, stalking, despair, depression. Not that much fun, but I'm guessing everybody watching this who's a twin flame is ticking these boxes, right? Oh yeah, I felt that, or I live there still. A higher love, you're in well-being. And again, it's not perfect, it's not every moment, but overall, you're in well-being.
And this is not just for twin flames, of course, it's for all of us.
Absolutely. So David Hawkins writes, at level 500, the narcissistic core of the ego no longer predominates. I don't think I need to say too much more about it. So I'll just maybe say one more thing that he says about higher love. The field of love is innately gratifying in and of its own quality. It is discovered that love is available everywhere and that lovingness results in the return of love. So if you think about the lower level is about having, and then you go up into more reasonable, it's more about doing. When you get up into 500 and above, it becomes about beingness. So the goal then becomes, I become love, which is actually who I really am. I embrace that, I clear away what isn't love, and then I share that with my beloved. But then I become not codependent anymore on my beloved. Whatever he's up to, it can still be hard. I still have a preference that he's up in higher states. But if he's not, I'm okay. I can be love. And then I can actually assist him come out of lower states much more quickly and easily. So I become a force for love on the planet. You want to say something?
No.
Okay. So what does this look like in real life? Boy, there's so much more we could say, but we're covering this in our Clearing the Pain Body for Higher Love. So join us there because we want to cover other things in this video. So for us, I'll just give you a few paragraphs of notes that I took about what does this look like for us. So we love each other just because there's no conditions. There's truly no conditions to our love. Ramy can be how and who he needs to be. I may not like it all the time. I may have a preference, but it doesn't change the way I love him or the way that I see his value of me loving him. Doesn't mean I don't have preferences, but I love him no matter what. And I trust that he loves me no matter what. There's enormous freedom in there. There really is. It doesn't mean we don't get irritated and triggered. We still do sometimes, but we take it as an opportunity rather than irritation and trigger becoming reality and then we blow up. That's what happens down here below 200. You get irritated, you triggered, you're moved in, and then it becomes like two egos bashing each other. We try not to do that anymore. If we get irritated and triggered, we look at, okay, what's the opportunity here? What do we need to clear? That's higher love. And then we join the other one. If the other one is triggered, if we can't do that in the moment, we take a little break and then we come back. But we don't engage in bashing each other at the ego level anymore like we used to. And like, many twins and other soul relationship couples do. We don't need to control each other. We'll do a lot on that in future courses because this piece is shocking about how we control the other one in ways that we're not even aware of. We truly are supportive of each other's soul callings, even if it takes us away from each other for a little bit. Like if one needs to go on retreat, or one has a piece of work that they need to do, or I need to go parent. We allow the space and freedom to do that. We don't try to grab or shame or blame. And again, if we get triggered, we clear it. We deal with polarity in a way that we harmonize rather than battle. This is a big one. We'll talk about that more in other, but it's really a big one. Learning how to harmonize when there's polarity that comes up. And we're aware and sensitive to when our partner's off base, and we try to give each other a hand rather than move in there and, it becomes a sling fest. And we take full responsibility for what we're feeling at all times. That's a big one. We see our relationship as a primary vehicle for ascension. So when glitches come up, we see it as, okay, what is underneath here that needs to be cleared so we can go higher, and we give each other a hand. And we're very, very close to each other. That's a myth that if you're not in this grasping romantic love, you'll just kind of drift away. And we've even heard people say that, and it's kind of mystifying to us that it's either or, right? Because we become closer, we go more into union, the more we let go of that lower grasping, and the more that we're filled with source and sharing love. It's very bonding at a higher level. Yeah, and the last one is we don't source ourselves from each other. Ramy's not my source. I tried to make him my source for years. You're my source of well-being. You're my source of love. Therefore, you have to be this certain way. This is familiar to a lot of you, right? I don't make him my source anymore. My source is the divine and my own divine self. That's my source. And then we dance together accordingly. It still doesn't mean we don't prefer to be together, because we absolutely do. However, he's not my source and I'm not his source. We know how to parent our own inner child. We know how to love ourselves, no matter what's going on. And that is very freeing. And that is higher love. There's a lot more we could say. We'll be covering that more later. But just wanted to give you a taste, because a lot of people who are... It's again, there's just a lot of either or out there. Either you're stuck in yearning or you're solo. There's not really been a lot up there, because a lot of people really haven't had a chance yet to feel and experience what does higher love look like in an actual 3D relationship. Because it's, you can create it on your own pretty easily, at least for a while, until the lower stuff comes up. And you can create it with a spirit, but to do it with another human being who has an ego and a body, there's a lot more to it. So that's the heart of what we are learning and teaching on planet Earth. Okay.
Check in, see how you're making out just now. We have both. Every second we have both. So we can get caught up in the lower stuff. We can connect with the higher stuff. So by being vigilant, then we can do that. So then there's a however, right? So partly what we're talking about is manifesting. You can create what you want. Well, that's true. However, there's all kinds of obstructions that get in the way. Many of you have tried manifesting a Cadillac, or manifesting that relationship over there, and etc. And part of what happens is there's a bunch of stuff that gets in the way. Partly it's lower levels of consciousness, which is much lower energies of power, and higher levels of consciousness, where we're in a place of peace and acceptance and love and so on. Then there's far more energy to transmute things. So when people talk about manifesting and creating, we're talking about higher levels of consciousness. So crucial stuff is to work at resolving our pain body and so on. And we teach people how to do these things in their series and the various series. So I'm going to talk a little bit about desire, and it's totally part of this, of course, because we have desire at the soul level. We came in yearning to help the universe, obviously, right? To help the world, yearning for love and to be love, and yearning to give unconditionally, to grow through things. So we have that side, and we also have our lower body, emotionally, which our wounded inner child, anxious and avoidant bonding from childhood. I won't go into descriptions of that now, but we have some wounds from childhood that are not resolved, and from previous lifetimes and etc. They come up to the surface when we're busy solo and doing our thing in the world and so forth, and doing work and so forth. We're not in a relationship, and things can be pretty dandy, or we may have a yearning. And we can shut down that yearning fairly easily for some of us. And the yearning is those two different things. So the yearning coming from our pain body, I want somebody to help complete me. I am nothing without being in a relationship. And there's the other, where we connect with a higher, wiser side, and we connect more with the universe, and we're able to give unconditionally to each other, which is what Jill was talking about. Lower love versus higher love. So I think in terms of desire is crucial when we're experiencing having no desires. I don't need anything. Things are cool, but things can be pretty dry then quite often, right? Dry and stale, and there's not the lushness. And so for some people, that's just fine. And for some other people, they just want more. I want more than that. I want that richness, that lushness. And this is what we're talking about. It brings up all of the stuff to be healed. And so then gradually we can become more and more and more fully the higher love. And as Jill said, there's all kinds of movies and books and stuff all over the place that talks about that romance. And if we don't have the romance and I get my needs met through the relationship, then there ain't nothing, right? And it's no good. So let's take a few seconds now to do a little clearing in relation to this. But I want to check, is there anything more you want to add?
just maybe one thing about the desires that originate from the lower self. That's the part that wants the Cadillac and the, all of that stuff. So it's important to know the difference, because sometimes, well, maybe all the time, but most of the time, lower level desires will be blocked because it's not for your highest good. So if you're working really hard to create something that's at a lower level, your soul's going to go, no, that's not why you're here. So no. And then you'll start to feel like, what am I doing wrong, right? So if we're trying to create things from below 200, a lot of times they'll get blocked if it's not for your highest good. And thank goodness. And we think too that, for us and for other twins and other soul couples, that lower level of love, it's not going to be allowed to happen in your relationships. You will be blocked from it. And that's what happened to us. We couldn't, why can't we get this together? Why? Well, because we're trying to create something too low. Okay. So we had to have a different goal for ourselves. So paying attention to where your desire body is pointing is also really important, because we think you came here for more than Cadillacs and, etc. Not that there's anything wrong with wanting abundance, right? But if it aligns with your higher soul purpose, and that may be something you're here to create. But if it's instead of, oftentimes it will just be blocked. It just won't work. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? Well, you got to go higher.
And it's not just a Cadillac. It's also yearning for abundance through the other guy. My abundance, my inner richness, emotionally, my etc., totally depends on the other guy. So then we're toast. Yeah. We're totally in their power. One of the lines that we learned a while ago is that we both of us really love is we take our inner child and we put it in the other guy's lap. Here, you take care of this. It don't work so good. So let's do a little clearing in relation to this so just go into heart chakra again. The lower the yearning, the desire is also in the belly. So put your right hand on your belly. I nourish my own inner child. I look after it. Jill was talking about some of that. Do some of that now. Partly we carry some unresolved yearning from our parents. So for some of us, they may have wanted another child, so we have to do it for them. Or they may have wanted to have a fancy university degree, and so I have to do it for them, or become a mechanic, and so I have to do it for them. So there's some of that unresolved needs and desires from our parents or before then. Let's ask Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, to clear that. Obviously, there's piles of unresolved yearning at the soul level in relation to previous lifetimes. Let's ask Spirit to clear that level. Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael as well for that level. We have soul groups and etc. There's collective consciousness. So there's many, many different layers. We won't go into that now. We've done some of that in our other videos. And we train people how to transform these things very precisely. Give you all the tools for that, for those of you who are interested. For now, just transmute. You can choose to use a high being of your choice, but different high beings have different jobs, different specialties. If you work with a particular high being that it's not their job to help to clear this kind of stuff, your degree of effectiveness might be 10% as opposed to transforming really fully, really quickly. It's really important to experiment, but in a way that feels right for you. We teach people those things too, for those who are interested.
Okay, so let's fill up some. So working with the Divine Feminine for us has been really, really useful for transforming this grasping quality or wanting to push away. So let's work with the Divine Feminine. We won't leave out the divine masculine, but we'll start with the divine feminine. So we love Kuan Yin. You can work with Mother Mary, or you can just work with pure feminine or just pure divine love. So imagine from your heart chakra, you've heard us talk about this before, the galactic cord goes all the way up to source, the divine. And let's ask for Archangel Vaiwamas to open up and clear your central channel. And now just imagine, I like to imagine it as a ball of just beautiful, you can think of rose gold or pinkish gold energy, divine love, just coming down from source. And you can imagine a goddess bringing it, or just imagine it coming down. And it's going to just be filling all of your chakras. Kuan Yin, Mother Mary around you, the divine feminine. Just allow that beautiful mother love, motherly divine love. It's so clean and pure. It's so just pristine. Imagine that filling you up. Filling up your mind, giving you thoughts that are more loving. Let's ask for this divine love to clear your mental level, your mental body, and clear that more broadly. And ask for divine love to go into your brain. Healing going into the amygdala, the center of your brain, calming and soothing you. Let's ask for that divine love to go into your throat chakra. It's a center of divine will, and ask to just heal the parts of you that resist being in your higher will. Allow that love to just transmute any blockage in your fifth chakra. And allow that now to travel down into your heart and just fill your heart with this beautiful divine love. This is who you are. This is your essence. You can think of your heart as a flower or a many-petaled lotus, as some describe it, and just allow this love to fill all the chambers of your heart. Some people talk about the heart having 7 layers, so just allow this divine love to fill and clear your heart. I am love. Allow that love to heal the parts of you that are brokenhearted, that feel like love is hurt. Just allow that divine, beautiful, feminine, motherly love to heal your heart more fully. And just allow that to travel down into your belly and go really deeply into your inner child. So whether you experience difficult childhood or any issues in childhood, just have that divine love go in and fill you up at the inner child level. And then we're going to have it go even more deeply into your cells and DNA. Rami was mentioning carrying pain and carrying unresolved longing from the past generations. So let's have this love fill your cells and DNA and go back and heal your ancestry. Think of yourself as a point of power, and you can ask for this healing to go out very broadly to anyone and anything you're connected to. They can receive it or not, but you're just offering it. It's just like sunshine. You can choose to go out and receive the sunshine or not, but the sun is shining. So you're shining like a sun. And you can imagine, if you wish, your beloved or your twin flame, and just allow this loving energy to just radiate out. You're not sending your personal energy. You're just radiating out like a beautiful, loving sun. You can send it to your other loved ones, radiating it to your home, any pets you have, your kids, family members. You're imagining yourself, and you are, a divine, radiant ball of love, divine love. So we fill ourselves first, and then we radiate it out. That's the ticket. Allow this love to go into any parts of you that are experiencing pain or suffering right now. Bring those parts up and let them be healed and transformed by this divine love. And let it just travel down your grounding cord into the center of the earth. And you can imagine just sending this love down into Gaia, into the earth. Do one more quick piece. Allow it now to fill up all the layers of your aura. So your physical body first, then the etheric layer right around your body, your emotional layer, mental, Buddhic, which is the relationship layer, Atmic, galactic, and so on. And now I told you we wouldn't forget the divine masculine. Ask for the divine masculine to come in and fill up your inner male with the male energy of divine love. Strengthening you, supporting you. We love working with Archangel Michael, Christ. And then imagine that divine masculine love and divine feminine blending and supporting each other, creating higher love within you. Just imagine that balanced energy now radiating into your cells, into your DNA, and into all the layers of your aura. And now you can imagine just radiating this out, just like the sun. The sun is always sourced. The sun is a wonderful metaphor for this higher love. You're just radiating. You are, and you radiate out. And everyone and everything around you receives this beautiful energy. And they can do with it as they wish, but you're radiating. They can receive it or not. Feel how you feel right now. Just take a moment and feel. If there are parts of you that come up like doubt or fear or grumpiness or irritation, that's normal. When you bring in a lot of light, you're going to have these parts come up. So even after this video, you might feel cranky. You might be like, oh, normal. So if you can choose to do this or not, but one thing that can work really well is when those parts come up, put your hand on your heart, like we've been doing all video, and put your hand on where you're feeling that feeling. It's usually in the belly somewhere. And just send love to that part. Say, yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, we have been hurt a lot, right? And we have, been led astray, etc. I'm going to give love to that part. Those wounded parts will come up when you bring in more light. That is to be expected and actually welcomed. Because we can't get to higher levels, truly, in a stable way, unless we heal our lower parts. It's not going to happen. So we can go up, but then we got to deal with the lower. Bring the higher in, lift the lower up, and they're merging. You're transmuting with love. Very simple. There's a lot more to it, right? But this is very one simple way that you can work with these lower parts. Okay, so take a minute now and just come back into the room. You can feel your heart and then feel your lower body. Feel if you're sitting down, just feel your legs and thighs on the chair, your feet, your hands. Let's ask for you to be grounded. Bring that energy down your grounding cord so you're grounded. You can ask for Archangel Michael's blue dome of protection around you, high beings around you. I'm in quite an elevated state, so you may wish to just stay here if you're there as well. You may also be triggered. Either one is perfect. So if you're triggered, you can choose to work with the triggers, with these the techniques we used. If you want more from us, you can look down below. We'll have links to the various things that we offer for you. And you can choose to go deeper with this. We've been at this for a while. We've learned a lot. We've practiced a lot. And we have a lot to offer you. So please feel free to join us for any and all of what we're offering. You're all warmly invited. And we hope this has been useful for you.
Great to be with you. Thanks for sharing this space and time with us.
Take care, everybody. We send you lots of love. Namaste.
Namaste.